Hello there. Just going to see if I can shoot a very quick sharpening demo for a customer who's bought this Honyaki knife, and he just wants to know. I'm just going to demonstrate a quick touch-up, and I'm going to break it down to 4 steps. And just because it's my favourite thing to use for this, and it's nice and flat at the moment, I've got this stone. It's just a broken piece that I got in a bargain bin from Maxim. It's called Iwatani. That's what it's called. I had to ask him. I just grab things and use them, and this is nice. It's perfect because it's quite hard. Well, it's not hard. It's medium range, but I mean maybe on the hard side as far as knife stones. It doesn't dish at all. I've got a Takashima as well, which I use for this same process. Use it for 2 things, so, sharpening and blending. But it's a bit dished, and to be honest, this stone, I'm guessing this would be a more expensive stone. It feels a bit nicer, but this piece was cheap, and I'm just using that. And I've got a bit of a Hero, I think it's an Hero Ceta, probably a softish one. I've been using that as finger stones, and a cork, and that's it. This process applies, you change, if there's a chip in the knife, I'm just going to do a very quick touch up as quickly as I can, but if there's a chip in the knife, you do this first process. I'm going to, with a lower stone. So if it's a bit of a chip, you might have to have a quick go with something like, that's a Chazera 300 or a JNS 300, whatever you decide to go with. If it's just a tiny mini chip, microchip, you can get away with the 1K for most chips in this kind of steel, are very small. I won't talk about the range of this. It's fine, but it cuts fast. So first thing, you set a bevel, and I'm going to set the bevel. That's the angle. It's about maybe 10 degrees at the most, and it's not too important. It's going to go away again. It's just to repair any damage on the edge. I'm not going to go hard. That's it. I've set a little bevel on the bottom of it. Obviously, if you've got a chip in there, longer, a bad chip or tip repair, the 300, little chip, or maybe you've got a knife that distorts at the edge a little bit, a bit of waviness, just the 1K. Set that bevel. Now make sure that it's sharp, that you've not missed anything. There's no dead spots. You've got the chip out. You'll be able to tell with a piece of paper. Thinner bit's a bit better, but check it everywhere, especially prime candidates, so the tip, the heel, or if you've ended up with a little dip just before the heel, very common, and it gets missed. Obviously this was sharp already. So it's done. So that's step 1. You've set your bevel. I'll just do that one more time. I sharpen ambidextrously. Most people sharpen like that. It's just the way I do it. There's no right way. So you set your bevel. Strop. Confirm it's sharp. Go back, get any dead spots. You might need to drop down a grit at this stage. Okay, stage 2. Lower angle, so just take the corner off. You're just taking the corner. I'm going about half the angle I was before to set the bevel. Just makes life easier if you just take the corner off it. and I can see that that micro bevel's just got tiny, so it's set you up, it's taken a little bit of work off. So that's stage 2. Go over that again. You're going in at half the angle approximately. It doesn't matter, the angles don't matter, it's just the consistency of what you're doing. Okay, going in a bit lower. It's easy to get carried away. I did a video trying this with the J&S Red and decided this was the easiest stone to do it on in terms of doing the whole process. I can see that micro bevel's got tiny. Okay, stage 3. You've got this, the whole lower bevel of the knife. If you just leaning it in, just pushing on the very edge of it, it's a compound bevel. So I'm going to do the lower part of this lower bevel of the knife into the edge. So I'm going to blending into the edge, blending and continuing to thin. You're just making sure that there's no shoulders anywhere. That's my angles up a little bit there. And this is what you want to spend a little bit of time on. And you can check your micro bevel. You don't want to go through the edge at any point. So this won't be a repair video. I haven't got time for a full repair video just today, but and the technique, I'm using the bevel as a guide, and then you're just pushing into the edge. I can feel the roundness of that convexity. Just there's no lines visible going into the edge, it's just a smooth, polished. So this is just a touch up, so I don't need to go mad, don't need to over polish it. I'll just move the weight up just a fraction, still on the lower part of the lower bevel, but moving into the mid part of it. A properly set up knife, you can use the knife as a guide like this. See, I'm using the weight on the bevel, my finger, that's it. My thumb's not holding anything, it's just guiding the knife. And look, you can still see there's a little bit of a shoulder. But I'm going to move on for the sake of the video. Okay, now I need some slurry. If I'd been working quite hard, I might have built up a bit of slurry, but I'm going to use some of this Ohiro to have a cushion of slurry. It's still recording. I'm going to try and hurry up now. Just wanted to go over these processes. So I'm blending the mid upper. Like that. And I can blend down, I don't worry about when I'm blending the lower. I'm blending the lower again now. I'm just showing that I'm not that worried about mixing the... I just want to blend the direction as it's blending into the rest of the polishing. I want the marks to be mostly going across. It just looks more pleasing to the eye. That's the lower again, just rounding and thinning into there. You can see that's a compound bevel you're working to bits. Okay, now the last stage for the finishing, and then I'll just go back to I'll put a micro bevel back on there at the end. I wanted to do this reasonably quickly. Get a nice slurry, get your cork, and then you can blend. I mean, this is just visual now because I'm blending pretty much above. It's just going to depend on the type of knife you've got. With this knife, your eye is drawn to the ham-on, so I'm just using the stone to just the grit with this cork just to blend up visually. This literally just, but it is an attractive knife, this one, so you want to keep it looking attractive, and this is the easiest way to do it. It's just to lead the eye a little bit, so your eye's not, there's not so much of a line.
So I'll just demo this as a process and spend a bit. Overall, you know, you might need to spend a nice amount of time doing this to get it really, really, really nice. And then you might want to go in with some, just touch it against the taps, alright. And you might want to go in with some wire powder. Some high grit wire powder on the ham-on. And have some fun with it. You can leave some patina up there, up above the ham-on, and do this edge, and then you can just polish out the ham-on in the middle a little bit. You can leave some patina, have a play with the effect.
And then at the end I'd go with a rag as well, or a bit of tissue. I think it's going to look nice on that side, and the other side needs a bit more work, but yeah, I can still see some. I'm not happy with this side, but for the sake of the video, and the very final thing, because that micro bevel's all but disappeared. Well, it's disappeared. Totally optional. Nice low one, but I'm just going to touch it on the stone to just put a little, literally, I mean, this is such a high grit stone as well. That's it. That is it. That is all the shoulder that I ever want anywhere near my edges. Couple of strops to the micro bevel angle. That's the whole thing. That's the whole job. Edge blending. I might go over it with a bit of wire powder, but really, as far as beauty and function, that's about it. You could just polish out the ham-on a little bit more with some wire. Oh, it's just it just takes the tops. You don't even need to put it against the arm. Just pops the tops off the hairs.